This band? I like this band. I wrote it down so I don't forget who they are. Oh, I remember. Fucking Slay! He's got Led Zeppelin. He's got lead glasses. He's got everything you want lead. He's getting the lead out. We're going to talk about our favorite decade, the 80s. A time when you could drink lead out of a glass, have a 12-piece chicken nugget for breakfast. All we drank in my house, Roger, was soda. We had orange soda and we had Coca-Cola, and it made me the biggest Coca.
No Pepsi.
No Pepsi, too sweet. We didn't want that. I wanted that harsh Coca-Cola that burned your throat when you drank it.
Correct. Yeah, my father wouldn't allow anything else but Coca-Cola in the house.
Yeah, we were like, and it's like, you know, sometimes I'll still get a Happy Meal because I want that nostalgia, and I'll get myself a Coca-Cola with that Happy Meal. I'll get a cheeseburger Happy Meal with extra fries. I don't want those apple slices. We didn't believe in apples in the 80s.
But one time, real quick, we were going through a drive-through. Since this is an 80s episode, me, my buddy Andy, and Matt, we were coming home from Cinderella at Foxborough at Showcase Live. They were all drunk in my vehicle, and I'm the sober one always, even back then. We're going through a McDonald's, and they're like, "Get us some Happy Meals." I was like, "All right." So I go through. I was like, "Hey, can I have 2 Happy Meals?" They're like, "Is it for a boy or a girl?" I'm like, "Oh, it's for 2 grown men." Like,
I just did it.
grown men.
I don't know where I put it, but right now the Happy Meal. So guys, in the 80s, what we loved about Happy Meals was you got all kinds of toys, and they got new toys now, and they come in little Happy Meal boxes. I've been 3 times, Roger, 3 times, and you get like a soda fountain out of it, the old school table, and you're supposed to like build a play set. I love nostalgia. I love the 80s, and what we wanted to talk about was, let's talk about, besides the decade itself just being splendid, let's talk about maybe a band we've seen in the last decade that's from the 80s that was unbelievable next level, or that was such garbage that we're still traumatized from it.
Oh, it's going to be hard to say that because I'm kind of friends with a lot.
Oh, no, you're in a lot of trouble. I'll go first. So a band that just destroyed me. I really like this band from the 80s, but they only have one song that people pretty much know. And it was a big song. A lot of people compared them to Van Halen at the time. They're out touring now with not one original member, but the band Autograph. And the song Turn Up the Radio, just an anthem. I saw them at the Mohegan Sun, and it was a package tour, and I was so pumped for Autograph. I just couldn't wait to see Autograph. I'm like, I can't. And they went on stage, and there was nobody was left from the band. They were just using the name and everything. And when that song came on, I've never seen people just not give a shit playing. It was just go through the motions. Here we are. We've got your money. Too bad.
Yeah.
And it.
Let me check my bank account. Make sure that PayPal got deposited of $50. Yep.
It was so bad, dude. It was nothing. It was so far removed. It actually made me happy when I looked it up and saw there was no one from the band in the band, because I was like, this was just a disgrace. It was just so bad that to this day I wake up about it. When I hear that song on the radio, I go into convulsions. I get so upset. It was horrible.
That's fun. The problem is we're getting to the age where a lot of these dudes, like the Aussie thing the other day, a lot of the guys, like it's time.
It's
to
time.
Make room for other people.
It's time, bless you, and it's something, bless you. I know the 80s gets you all nostalgic. You're getting sick now. I know that's what happens, is that people don't know when to step away sometimes, right? And it's something that's very important with that, because
I know where this is going. I know where this is going.
I know a guy.
Where this is going.
I know a band. I know someone I'm not going to talk. I could add another person to this list, but I'm just going to leave it there. And then a band that I'll say, now a band that surprised me. You know, maybe a band that still sound like I saw Kicks at the Mohegan, same place, Mohegan Sun. I saw them in the Wolf's Den, and they just, dude, it was so emotional. It sounded like
they were a machine.
A machine. it was like they were the Wolf's End, small place. Anyone that doesn't know, free concerts, great place. Me and Roger got to hit up. We go to Mohegan Sun a lot with Degenerate Gamblers, but we got to go to the Wolf's End for some shows. And Roger, they gave it everything they had, like it was 1989 again. It was beautiful to see.
But I have to admit, like I didn't like. It's not. I didn't pay attention to them until Blow My Fuse.
Yeah.
That record, it kind of. I didn't pay attention to the early Cool Kids and all stuff.
Yeah.
And then when I listened to it, it wasn't something that I probably would have. I don't want to say I don't like anything because people don't like my band or they don't like you in general or cats or hamsters or whatever.
Right.
But like, it's just I never really paid attention to their early stuff. And then when I listened to it, it wouldn't be the CD I would pick on a long ride.
Right.
But that Blow My Fuse record,
magic.
Masterpiece.
And they sound so good. Another band, I guess they were late 80s, but I think of them more as early 90s, but late 80s was sort of Slaughter. Like, I've enjoyed every time I've seen Slaughter also. I've seen them in the Wolf's Den. I've seen them in the bigger place. I saw them when Ronnie Dio died, and they played. I call him Ronnie Dio because I would have known him personally if he would have met me, but I didn't. So I try and act cool, and I call him Ronnie Dio. He died, and they played Heaven and Hell. And it was so much emotion. But I always loved Vinnie Vincent as well, speaking of the 80s. Vinnie Vincent Invasion, I actually love those albums.
I like it. Well, yeah, because those dudes came from the second record.
Yes.
You know?
Yep. So Roger, I know you don't have any connections with all these 80s bands. It's not like you open for a different one every week. It's not like All Sinners is literally everywhere in these guys' heads. What band can you say that you didn't like from maybe it's not metal. Maybe you saw Madonna and wanted to fucking just end it. I don't know.
You know what? I wasn't attracted to... I had a friend, Chris Shea, still friends with him too, that he went the alternative route when Cure, Culture Club, Smiths, like on the bus, we were listening to AC/DC, Ozzy,
Yep.
you know, that era of stuff. He would listen to his Walkman, Cure, Culture Club, Simple Minds. I didn't gravitate to that side of the music because I didn't think it was cool. It's great music, don't get me wrong, but it's not the metal.
Yeah, I get it. I totally get what you mean, and that's something that's important too. Is that you're still showing respect for those bands and the talent of those bands. You know,
I kind of have to because I own a record store. You know, one time, a friend of mine was in there, and he literally, probably the couple still hasn't come back. Like they brought the Nirvana Nevermind record up. And he obliviated it. It just like made fun of it the whole time. And I looked at him and I was like, dude, you can't even play a beat on a drum set.
right?
Hamilton, nothing wrong. You know, and for me to pick apart somebody that's been on a label, toured, you know, left their families, you know, had enough notion, have, you know, the want to do this, you can't say that it's just not good. It's just something that I didn't choose. I guess that's better. You know,
that makes sense.
Food, we can go round for food.
Food we can, but what is
the people don't have feelings? You know, food doesn't have feelings.
Food doesn't have feelings, and as you know, when we were talking about Mohegan earlier, me and Roger go to the most expensive restaurant at the Mohegan. We have the most expensive, lavish meals. Me and Roger like to just go hang.
To us.
They got grapes there. You know, we get mad if no one recognizes us. We assault slot machines. It's normal stuff, guys. We don't have egos. What's the best band? 2 questions. Who is the best metal band to come out of the 80s? And who's the best metal band still touring from the 80s? You see them live and you're like, they've still got it.
Guns N' Roses. That first record. If they didn't put out anything else,
it
would be fine. The best touring band right now out there, LA Guns.
Yeah. Great band.
Phil Lewis still has it.
Yep.
But there's so many people doing it. Like, so many people still... Tom Kiefer. Cinderella will never happen again.
Right.
You know, because obviously the guitar player passed on. But the band he has... you know...
So good. So good. And that's a band.
What about you?
I mean, when you talk about Appetite for Destruction, that album was so far ahead of everything else out at that time. That album was so, and again, all great bands from those eras, right? Stuff I love, stuff I listen to all the time. That album was just something that once in a lifetime, right? That was just something that came out that was so. But if I think of like, it depends too, like what. As we know, metal can be broken up into these different genres. So, like, sometimes I could look at it and say Metallica, right? Metallica was, like, just tearing it apart in the 80s, but they weren't up there with those other bands did either. Like, if I got to talk about who were the bigger, you know, they got, what, 1989, 1990 with Injustice, the Black Album, that kind of stuff. I mean, I look at Cinderella. I play more Cinderella now than probably any other band associated with that genre from the 80s. And I listen to, like, Night Songs, and I get chill and shake me. And those songs have so much emotion. I always put that band so far up there as far as with the competition. They are just such a great band. I was a big Rat fan also. Big Rat fan, big Whitesnake fan. I even love, you know, Slip of the Tongue. I know a lot of people are like, they fell off then. I love that album. I don't know. I like the energy of that album. I know it's different.
Yeah, but they were they were Deep Purple in the 70s.
They were.
Like David Coverdale wanted to be Rainbow, Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin. So they had that whole keyboard thing, very, you know, just regular piano type, which made them more of a blues band.
True.
As soon as the 80s came in, they came into that production time, and whoever said, all right, guys, you need to now write this self-titled record, and they took all, you know, a bunch of their old songs and they just revamped them into more of an 80s style, you know, or radio style.
It's so true.
More radio.
No,
style.
more. You're right, because if you listen to like Love Hunter and stuff, that's a different band. That sounds nothing like an '80s, you know, Whitesnake. That stuff is, and I have all the. I've always been a massive Whitesnake. I even love their "Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City" cover off the live album in the '70s. Like, I thought that band was. I even loved Coverdale Page in the '90s. I just really liked that band. I thought that was going to be a bigger project, and I remember Page being disappointed and Coverdale that they thought they were going to be playing bigger places, but the scene had changed. Right, the scene changed drastically.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Coda record. I can't give that record away at my store. It's either 1, 2, 3, 4 Houses of the Holy.
Yep.
That's it. You know, like Led Zeppelin, considered one of the best rock bands of all time. What, they have 4 records?
Yeah.
4?
I know.
You know, look at the Stones.
It is
crazy. With the Stones.
Yeah.
I can't give a Rolling Stones record away except Sticky Fingers and Some Girls.
Yep.
That's it.
It's changed. No? So something in the, you know, also being a kid in the 80s, like, especially with metal, you always, you know, it was like it was put into our system. You had to go deeper. You had to find out where these bands came from. You had to see the origins and other bands they were in. We've lost that definitely. It's definitely not that type of scene anymore. And no one does dig deeper. Like, there's a lot of great music. I mean, even the like last couple of Sabbath albums, the Technical Ecstasies, and you know, Never Say Die. Even though we're talking 70s now, but that's just a lot of forgotten music where people are like, you know, you buy Paranoid and you buy the self-titled, and you know, you call it a day. And it's sad because a lot of stuff gets lost.
And everybody fights who is better, Ozzy or
right,
you know, a Dio or you know, Martin or whoever. Like, who is better? And it's just like, listen, man, they all had Iommi on it. Like, he wrote all those songs.
Right.
The vocals might have been different, but same thing with Van Halen. Who's better, Sammy or Dave? And it's just like, it doesn't matter. You know, Eddie's in the band. Alex, Michael Anthony. Those 3 dudes. Doesn't matter who's singing. You know, those songs were still great.
So good. And speaking of 80s with those guys, as my biggest influence from the 80s, what got me into metal was David Lee Roth, Eat 'Em and Smile, and Skyscraper. Those 2 albums.
The records are phenomenal.
Phenomenal. My cousin loaned me those. And I'm like, if those had Van Halen stickers on them, those things, you know, they'd be everywhere. They'd be selling all these copies, but because it's DLR, they kind of get lost in the shuffle. Especially, like, I feel like Skyscraper's so underrated because, you know, Eat 'em and Smile was heavier and had all the hype and everything, and Skyscraper, a lot of, you know, the synths and stuff like that. I love Knucklebone. I love that album. That album, Damn Good Times. That is some great emotional shit on that album.
Yeah, and people just don't pay attention to it. They're $10 records at my store.
Crazy.
And I'm just like, you know, I have a grip of Eat 'em and Smile records. And that record, I'll tell you, one of the first early Van Halen records that I was introduced to was 1984. The first one I listened to all the way through.
Right.
You know, I remember, you know, seeing them on MTV doing covers, and you know what, Pretty Woman, and
Yeah,
really got me. And you know, Quiet Riot, all their hits, all covers,
all covers. I know.
Speaking of that, go listen to Deep Purple by All Sinners on YouTube and all your platforms besides Apple Music, because they won't let us put it on it because it's a cover.
Wow.
And if you want it for free, give the Madman a call. He'll text it to you.
I'll text it to you. Perfect Strangers. Talk about okay. Another thing I love about the '80s, Roger, is that no, please do it. In the '80s, all those bands got that second wind, which was kind of nice to see, right? You had Deep Purple, you had The Who, you had Grateful Dead. They all had that one big one that they were allowed to come back like a decade later after they fizzled out. So like Perfect Strangers, that album to me is like, I grew up with that album. That album's iconic. My favorite Grateful Dead is Touch of Grey, and people will be like, "What?" I'm like, as a kid, the video with the skulls and everything, and The Who, Eminent Front, like those. That's what I know those bands from. I know those more than their classic '70s stuff, which were like monster hits. But I love that the '80s allowed those bands to come back and reinvent themselves, and that one era of the '80s where it is that fantasy land where like everyone was getting along. We're all drinking Coca-Cola, eating Bonkers candy, Wendy's Where's the Beef. Like it was just this time of like everything was allowed and fun. And we didn't have social media, so we didn't have politics rotting our brains nonstop. We didn't have all the hate stuff. I didn't know what anyone was doing from a band. I didn't have someone telling me this guy's a dick. I just listened to the music, man.
Circus Magazine, Hit Parade, Cream, all those.
So good.
To go to the grocery store with my mom, I'd be like, I'll be at the magazines, you know. And,
yeah.
You know, seeing David Lee Roth and, you know, Kicking High, or, you know, Gene Simmons hanging out with different people. It's like, wow, Gene Simmons knows Eddie Van Halen? That's crazy. You know, like, that's how you find out about stuff.
It's how you... I was just looking at a thing... you know, you go into those rabbit hole. Like the one thing I do like with the social media and YouTubes and everything is you go in that rabbit hole. And I didn't know like Gene Simmons was involved with Black and Blue, or you know, you see all these things and these different like the Skid Row and Bon Jovi stuff, and like, you know, we didn't know a lot of this behind the scenes drama with some of these bands either. Like we saw these larger than life rock stars. Bon Jovi too in the '80s. I mean, that was like people that don't know MTV, young guys that know it, like that was on rotation every 5 seconds. Bon Jovi. That was everywhere.
My buddy Mickey Rat is a tattoo artist out of New Jersey. I don't know if I ever told you this story. He was in, I can't remember the name of his band. 80s band, really didn't do much. They shared a spot with Cinderella.
Wow.
And he slept over the spot with a young lady, an old enough lady, but a young lady. Slept over at the practice space. Cinderella showed up with their record people, you know, for them to hear him and stuff. Mickey got up from upstairs in the loft, put his clothes on, and him and the young lady walked out in front of the band and the record people. You know,
crazy.
That's 80s.
That's 80s. Yeah. Like 80s was just things just happened, and that's how it was. And like you had to be in the right place at the right time, and you had to deliver, right? Because the other thing with the 80s was the competition was for every band that made it, 1,000 didn't make it, right? There was so many metal bands everywhere. Oh, yeah. And it cannibalized itself at one point.
Like today, there's so many bands out there today.
Yep.
100%.
Yeah.
You know, I was in a discussion with one of your favorite artists the other day on the phone, and he was like, you need to go tour, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I'm like, I can't, man. Can't. It's not. I I don't have anybody here at the house to take care of my dogs and my
Yep.
store and my life and everything, you know. And it's just like we were trying to make a fireball in the Northeast
Right.
before we start going other places. Because you know what? I'm too old to play Des Moines, Iowa in front of 9 people. And you text me, hey, man, how's it going? I'm going to say, send me some money. I need some gas money.
No, I'll
You know,
go and I'll just start screaming Slayers there and get arrested. Like, I'll get you some traction. You know what I mean? I'll get you. First of all, you're not too old for anything. This guy he always wants to talk about being old. I can't keep up with him at the casino half the time. I go to the show. He's nice enough maybe to say hi to me for 5 seconds because he's got to talk to the other 300 people at his fucking show. He's everywhere. All Sinners is larger than life. You go to an All Sinners show. The first thing I said when I saw All Sinners open for Dangerous Toys, and I said it to you, is this was like seeing an arena show. And I've told everyone in the band and anyone I saw, you come out there, there's no old about it. There is hungry like the wolf, Duran Duran. Everyone knows I'm a Duran Duran fan. You're out there just giving 500%. I know a lot of bands, and I know a lot of young bands that do have it. They have the drive. I know a lot that don't. We've talked about it off the right. Like there's bands that they want me to do stuff to help them, and they haven't done nothing in a year. Or they're like, oh, we're finally getting ready. You're out there doing it. You're running a store full time. You have multiple bands. You have a full stage show. Guys, there's Earl. You got to go meet Earl out there. It's a good time, and Roger he is just going. I can't wait to see you on Drained because All Sinners, he beats the shit out of those drums. So when I go see his hardcore band, I'm actually scared for myself, Roger. I don't see old when I see you. I see a veteran of the scene who's got more drive than people in their 20s, and that's something you gotta take pride in that. And I don't know how you do it.
Because you tell yourself it's time to work. When I played for Atom Bomb, a guy from the 80's,
Yep.
on Geffen for a couple records or whatever, good guy, and we were somewhere. We were opening up for Enough's Enough in New Jersey.
Wow.
Monster crowd of, I don't know, 8, 9 people. But Adam walked by me and he goes, time to work. Time to go to work. And I was just like, oh my God, yeah, it is. Like,
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how many people are there. You know, I obviously we hope no matter what we do is in front of an audience, let it be a podcast or,
Yeah.
you know, or open a record store or whatever. You hope to be successful. But no matter what, who is there, how many people, whatever, you go to work. It's time to go to work.
You give
You
a
know,
million
you
percent.
you put on that facade.
Yeah. Dude, and you have to, and that's you really are an inspiration for life. I bring you up more often than you even know when I talk to people giving me excuses with their band. Oh, I got my job. I go, this guy's doing literally everything, and he just keeps going, and it inspires me, man, because you know I've got that drive like you, and life likes to knock us around, right? And Roger's a big inspiration for me. You'd be surprised, everybody. I got a lot going on in this brain sometimes, and I do need those people sometime to smack me around.
At 1 o'clock in the morning.
1 o'clock in the morning when I'm fucking I've had 7 bottles of fucking Fireball, and most people would be passed out, and I'm just getting started. But he will ground me with that shit, and then I look at it, and it's like the nice thing too, where Roger will teach you is mistakes happen, shit happens. Get back to work. Get your ass in high gear. You can cry. I watch him open for bands. You know, bands that were very big bands that had hit songs, top 40 songs back in the day. And Roger gets on, and I watch All Sinners just blow him off the stage. And I watch the people in there with their All Sinners patches, and I talk to them at the passion they have for everything. And it's like, you're All Sinners. You're out there dominating. You're doing everything you can do to be successful. You've opened for huge bands. You're opening for Ace Frehley again, which is, Roger, that's a fucking dream of 95% of rock and metal fans.
I dressed as, well, it's not confirmed yet. They're speaking of it, but like I dressed as him in 1979.
Really?
No, I made a cardboard guitar.
Wow.
Around my neighborhood. I wish I had a picture of it. At
Yeah,
show
and
Ace, he wouldn't care. He wouldn't care though. He'd be like, "Oh, cool, I guess."
hey, but it's cool to us. And Ace for me, speaking of the 80s, like, I was always a big Ace fan. So Frehley's Comet, I liked better than Kiss in the 80s. I was massive into fucking Frehley's Comet, right? And like the talent he has and the talent he had back then for the comeback and then again, deep diving, Eddie Trunk helping him get signed. I think it was maybe Megaforce or something, like all these different things you see. Guys, there's iconic stories out there of all these bands you should deep dive, and then you should go find out about All Sinners that's paying honor to these bands, but also bringing it into a modern light. Because unfortunately, what happened to the 80s metal scene, it got so stale. Everybody wanted their ballad. It lost the balls.
But it lasted 10 years. Like everybody thinks it like decimated.
No, it was a force.
But going back to that Guns N' Roses record, that Guns N' Roses record killed hair metal.
Yeah.
It did. It didn't really kill Rat or whatever. I mean,
No.
Rat had 8 or 9 records. Like,
And they were more metal, but yeah, they're right.
they were more metal than hair metal. You know, it did hurt bands like Poison, one of your favorites, Tora Tora. You know, more of the
love
Candy.
Tora. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that record. Just that lighter aspect of that Guns N' Roses. It wasn't punk rock; it was rock punk. I say it all the time. That was a punk rock record. You hear Adler playing that stuff, and it's just like just punk beats. That's what it is. Slash, and just playing riffs, and Axl screaming. He wasn't singing; he was screaming.
Screaming. No, that's a good point. That was an angry. The thing that I guess a lot of people say it was the labels. You think that album would have turned everybody into that, right? But like it didn't. Like the stuff, like once I got to hearing like stuff like Nelson and shit like that, I was like, this thing is in trouble. Like what do we? They're lumping. I think that's the problem. They started lumping it all into one scene, and it wasn't. Like you're saying, Guns N' Roses and Poison are so far removed from it. It's crazy to say they're the same genre because they're not. They're just not.
Well, what else made it spread out and thin out? What year did the true Pantera record,
Right.
When did that come out? So everybody that thought Rat was heavy and this and that, which Rat was, to me, Rat was rocking, and Dawkins and Wasp and all that stuff. But when Pantera came out with Cowboys from Hell, that was a whole new sound. That was just like, listen to this. Bill can sing, he can scream, and the rest of the band just was like, okay, now this is a thrash record. This is this. Sepultura.
Yeah.
Sepultura became, mainstream.
Yeah.
As soon as they got on Roadrunner, they put out a lot of those records on, their label down in Brazil and stuff, and then you don't get much better than Dead Embryonic Cells with that breakdown.
It is ridiculous, and it's
China Boy.
It's crazy to see now too, like the amount of the hardcore community, the love they show Sepultura and Pantera, right? And it makes sense because when you hear those, I don't know why people didn't see that back in the day. I mean, so much shit was either lumped in or separated. And that Cowboys from Hell, the thing I remember when we talk magazines, I'll never forget Tommy Lee. He talked about that like crazy. He goes, something's changing. I forget what magazine it was, and that's when now they got rid of Vince Neil, right? And they brought in because they sensed it. They were like, we're gonna get eaten up alive by this, and that's what happened. That's what happened with the Skid Row tried to hang on for a minute, and they did with Slave to the Grind, but then they just couldn't keep that traction,
But a band does get old.
True.
It's sad to say. What band? And you probably name 10 longevity bands.
Right.
When it comes down to it, like how many hip-hop bands, not even metal bands or rock bands or whatever, like there's only so many that has longevity, and you just enjoy your time that you're there.
And that's what All Sinners does. This is turning into an All Sinners infomercial. Send $19.95 to Purchase Street Records, New Bedford.
I'll send you something.
He'll send you something. He's got 8,000 different merch items.
Stamped envelope.
Self-addressed stamped envelope like back in the day. When's the All Sinners? A big part of the 80s was cereal. One of the best things about the 80s was you'd open a box of cereal and get a toy. One time I won a kickball. I had to send a coupon from Honey Smacks, and I was like the coolest kid on the block because I won a kickball. It came in the mail. All Sinners cereal with a little Earl figure, maybe in a little plastic wrap. Could see it happening.
No food. No, well, we do the hot sauce. Silk City hot sauce, but
the hot sauce from All Sinners, I burned through 2 bottles. Like, Roger gives me a bottle, it's gone in 2 days. Like, I put it on everything. I'm obsessed with it. All Sinners is carrying that legacy of that 80s, of that, like, we're here, we're taking no shit. We will open for any band. He fears no band. And I'm talking, he's opening for bands and just opened for great bands and legacy people. And, Mike Tramp of White Lion and LA Guns. And, we have some other gigs coming up. I know we said Ace and,
Yeah, 2 weeks is Queensryche.
Queensryche.
Queensryche, we're doing LA with Dawkins in November.
LA with Dawkins. The whiskey?
Yeah.
Iconic.
We just paid for that.
Yep.
The flights out there, and was staying at the hotel across the street.
Amazing.
London, which is kind of cool.
That's crazy.
So be out there, so it'll be fun. Expensive, but it's flights and rooms. I don't take vacation. I don't do anything. I'll just go gamble. Vacation. I could gamble that money.
The thing is, though, is you're winning of gambling on the fucking goldfish and now the Chinese, the firecracker machine. Let me get something.
Should have never left that machine.
I know.
You got on that stupid Wolfgang game or whatever. I
just lose and watch Roger play. We just went and saw Def Leppard talk about an iconic 80s band that still sounds great. Right? That was...
Yeah.
Now, how do you feel... They're a machine. How do you feel with those? So I actually love a lot of those casino shows where it's just, I get to see I just see Alice Cooper. I just see Def Leppard. Other people get upset and they want they want openers and a package. What's your take on that? Because people thought I was crazy and I'm like, no, just Def Leppard played. They're like, no way. Like, who opened? I'm like, Def Leppard. They're with casino.
I mean, sometimes you feel like watching a band for an hour and a half. They get to play all their hits.
That's what I love.
You see Alice Cooper open up for... was it Rob Zombie last summer?
Yep.
Alice Cooper played an hour.
Right.
An hour. That dude has 45 years of music.
Yeah. Yep. No, I love it.
And he's got, so like certain artists, and I like the casino. Comfortable, it's clean. It's the parking's easy. I'm not driving over bottles in the fucking in the parking lot and people's grills and whatever's on the ground.
You're not waiting 4 hours to get out of the fucking parking lot, right? You're not sitting in that line where everyone's beeping the horn and
you got this dude just fucking edging out, and it's just like, come on, man, I got the biggest truck in here. I'll fucking just run you right over.
He will. He drives a monster truck. I could have used that monster truck at Metallica because I was losing my fucking mind sitting in Gillette. And I'm like, I'm never doing this shit again. Like, I'm just going to get a hotel that night. Like, I'm going to get a hotel and walk to the fucking venue, get an Uber. That was 3 fucking hours sitting there. It was insanity, and then you got to drive home and it's just chaos. And then the other thing I don't always like about those shows is sometimes I'm still old school, right? And it's like all these fucking posers are around that don't even like this they're just doing it because these legacy bands show up and it's like, I just got to show up there and they don't care about the songs and the music. They just want to get like shit-faced drunk. And I'm a saint, so I can judge everybody else. I'm Saint Madman, as Roger knows. And I just don't. Sometimes I also need I need a break, and the casino is nice. One of my favorite things to do, though, is if I'm at the casino and I have if I see Alice and he's just playing by himself and I have the room after, and I just don't care about anything. I don't have to even drive. And to your point, it's weird because when you come out of a traditional venue, it's chaos. It's just chaos. Come out of the casino and it's just like, oh, the lights are nice. I could grab a bite to eat. I could gamble.
And you notice there's no clocks in the casino because they don't want you to know what time it is.
No. And I don't want to know what time it is. I'm just a good time all the time, so I need to just keep going.
Yeah, and it's an older crowd, too. I've never seen somebody throwing up on the ground and laying in the dirt at the casino.
No,
Ever.
no.
At Great Woods, 100%. Just like laying there in the dirt. People's grills all over the fucking place. But have you ever done this? Walk into your car at an outside venue and you see a strange cooler and you just open it up and you grab a drink.
No.
I have.
Amazing.
I was thirsty as hell. I saw somebody's cooler. I'm like, you know what? That guy should have put his cooler away. I'm gonna go grab a drink. I took a water. I took the 39-cent item. Didn't take anything else, but I was just like, this water's new. I'm gonna take it.
I'm gonna take it. When I saw Metallica at wherever it was parked Metallica at Gillette, they were like tailgating lobsters. So fucking. They took all the lobster, like the heads, and they put them like on spikes. And I was like, this is the stupidest shit I've ever seen in my life. And it's just something I didn't. Now, if it was a fully cooked lobster with the potatoes and corn, and I could just grab one like you grab the water. But they just had them everywhere. So the venue.
Sacrifice.
Last thing, since this is a pop-up episode and we got to get off here because we'll talk for 2 hours and we have no algorithm and no one will care.
We got 10 minutes. That's
10 minutes left.
10-minute warning.
What's the best venue from the 80s? What's the most iconic? Maybe not best, the most iconic. Is it the Whiskey? Is it the Rainbow? What is the most iconic venue?
That I've been through, or you think?
Both.
So West Coast would be Whiskey. East Coast would be... First place I ever saw a hardcore show was the Channel in Boston.
Nice.
The first show I ever went to was Sepultura, Napalm Death, Sick of It All, and Sacred Reich.
That's crazy.
Just out of high school, my friend goes, "Dude, you got to come to this show. I've never seen stuff like that before."
Yeah.
And it was insane. So you have the Orpheum in Boston too, but then you have CBGB's in New York. But that was a whole different scene. I played there once at like 2:30 in the morning.
Oh, you did though?
Yeah, I played to some guy sleeping. He slept during our set. I just looked down. I'm like, what has my life become? And then I walked outside. We drove to a rest stop in New Jersey to get some gas. Saw Stephen Piercy there.
That's sick.
And yeah. And then I found $200 parking tickets. I was putting my vehicle in the door. What do you think the most iconic were?
I mean, I wasn't on the West Coast ever back then, or haven't been, so I can't judge from there. Yeah. I mean, I love this, and no one's gonna agree with me here, but it just meant so much to me. Being a Long Island boy was the Nassau Coliseum, seeing Pantera in the Nassau Coliseum, Typo Negative, watching that frenzy. I love L'Amour's a lot, CBGBs, and the nice thing with CBGBs too that you brought up is a lot of people don't know that, like, CBGBs were playing bands fucking 24/7, and you could play in front of 3 people. So people used to be like, I played in front of CBGBs, and people would look at it as a flex. I'd be like, dude, they would let people fucking play.
Yeah, because I got a hold of them. I don't even know how I did it, but I got a hold of them, and I was just like, yeah, we're coming through. We're being from Boston. It's like, yeah, you can play at 2:30. I was like, in the morning? Holy shit. Who the hell's going to be there at 2:30 in the morning? There's maybe 2 people there, and one dude was definitely sleeping. But I guess iconic for me when I was a kid, Providence Civic Center, 100%. Saw everybody from my uncle to play to the Dio. And then the Living Room in Rhode Island, I saw Badlands there, which is another great band.
Great.
DAD, Enough's Enough.
Wow.
So mainly it was the Living Room in Providence, and Club Baby had too.
Club Baby had, that's right. Yeah. Yep. A lot of bands started there and played there, and that's maybe
Pearl Jam.
That would be
Marilyn
a good.
Manson.
We'll have to do an episode just on venues because I guess it's where where you've been around. Like there's a place called the Roxy Music Hall in Long Island, and that's where I saw my first concert. I saw a Downset and Testament. It was crazy. It was a crazy show and such a crazy combo to have with the hardcore and the thrashers. And I saw everybody from Anvil and Raven to Deicide and King Diamond and another venue I like a lot is Where's So Life of Agony, Toad's Place in Connecticut. Like, there's another one that I just had some real good memories of, and I love all those East Coast venues, and I love the vibe of them. And a lot of them, you know, Roxy Music Hall was sad when it went under because the amount of bands, but the '90s just started. That scene was changing, and I'll never forget because the guy that like ran the place, he'd be in his like all this '80s get up, and it just you could tell it was just not going to stay that way. Like the scene just changed so drastically. And I always hate when you see these venues start going away, and that's why I like that you play venues that you find iconic, because nothing's here forever. People forget that. Like everything will go away eventually.
I put on shows, and that's mainly how this band and I kind of took this idea from one of my first guitar players, my friend Eric, that he wanted to book Sick of It All in 1994 or 3 or whatever when Drain first started. He goes, listen, if I can book Sick of It All and have us play in front of them, like, it'll get us popular. And I to this day, that's what I use, because I ship Dangerous Toys up here in November.
Yep.
You know, I also have the Babylon AD, you know, those guys, you know, I talk to Derek every once in a while, the singer. He texted me the other day. He's like, I have no idea why you guys aren't signed. I'm like, me either. Wait till you hear the new record. You know, and then that's all I replied to him. So it just, you know, we just, you know, I brought up Spread Eagle. Trying to think who else I've brought. Oh, Bill Lewis and, you know, Ace Van Johnson, and then Ricky Rackman, and, you know, just trying to associate our name with everything. And, you know, and our name gets associated with you, and we appreciate it. You know, you and I become, you know, brothers and each other's sponsors and certain things that do upset us in life. And, you know,
sure.
And lucky to have that, you know, and so
very lucky
to have a friend that says, hey, man, fucking smarten up. You don't
you need that. And one thing we're both guilty of is that we'll get me and Roger are so passionate that if there's a speed bump, we fucking lose it sometimes, because we want everything right to be perfect. We give 1,000,000% in whatever we do. And a good lesson, a life lesson for people out there is sometimes it's just not going to go your way. And it's learning
like a bonanza.
Like all that shit just goes fucking
like
crazy.
Like a bonanza.
It's that way. It's that way in life. You could have bonanzas, circuses, and sometimes you're just like, enough is enough with all this shit. And you could just say, and you can do all these things here, and you just look at it and you go, you got to keep moving forward, right? But it's hard. It's hard because when you put that passion into something, and the other thing, you know what song hits me, non-metal completely, is Billy Joel Vienna. When it's like, slow down, you crazy child. Like, you're trying to do too much at once. And it's so true, because most of the times it's not failures what happened. It may not have went where you wanted it to go, but people had a good time and you had a good time. So why take that into a negative and self-destruct when you could go, hey, that was okay, and next time it'll be even better. And it's going to take a while. Nothing's overnight. It just takes a while. And if it's overnight, Roger, as you know, especially in today's times with social media, it's kind of the worst way to make it happen, because then you become a target right away. Why did they get big? They didn't do anything. What you're doing is the way to go.
But what's making it, though? Like, what's really making it? Like, I work pretty well with a record label called Rat Pack Records out of New Hampshire. Does a lot of legacy artists. Queensryche's, you know, the self-titled stuff. Michael Sweet's self-titled stuff. And I was talking to him, and, you know, and I get aggravated with being in a band, and I feel like I should be at a certain level because, you know,
right.
I feel I work hard.
Yep.
Not that it's owed to me, but it would be nice to me, myself, to feel like I'm achieving something. And if he goes, hey, man, he goes like this, if you haven't noticed it, your name's on everything.
Yeah.
Your name's on every website, every venue, every band sharing your site.
Right.
You're doing it. You're putting out your records. You're choosing the shows you
right.
You don't have to take the shows, and every show matters. You don't have to take the shows that's going to more hurt the band than help the band.
Think of that.
You know?
Anytime anytime you're doubting yourself with any of this, I say it to you all the time. You've already accomplished, 95% more than any other band trying to make it. I've got great people, great bands sometimes, but they don't have a vision. Maybe they don't have the resources. Maybe they don't have the time. Maybe they don't make it. And, you watch them play in front of 5 people, and they play in front of 5 people again, and they get disillusioned, right? And they just go, we're going to call it quits and blah, blah, blah. You got to stay tenacious, and you're already there. You're the blueprint when I tell people. I'm like, you've already made it. It's just there's different degrees that you're trying to get to, but you're already there. Like, you've already accomplished so much more than anyone else is going to accomplish in the music scene. As you know, most don't. Most don't make it. Most don't get to open for these bands. Most don't get people wearing. I mean, I was in Milwaukee. I'm in Milwaukee. I see Purchase Street and all Sinner stuff there. Like, think of that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. There's nothing better than seeing stuff spread like that everywhere. And it's like I'm talking to myself too sometimes, because sometimes I'm like, why don't I have 1 million or 5 million? Blah blah blah. But it's like I go out there. People know who the fuck I am. I like to bring the energy, the hype. I have a good time. And that's what we do. And we're at our time limit, Roger. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick this up next time. Thank you. Very nice and gracious of you. And we're going to stay we didn't stay focused either this time, but I know I have to cut us off. This was the 80s kind of episode. We touched upon the 80s.
What? Like 2/3 of it.
Two-thirds of it. Roger, it's been a sick time.
And then the other third was
It's related.
how to feel good about yourself if you don't think you're doing well, not just in a band, but in life in general.
In life in general, and if you're alive, you're doing well, and if you've got an income, you're doing well, and if you can inspire other people, you're doing well, and if you do stuff because you like to, if you have 5 people watching you, and you're having a great time, and they had a great time, that's a win. That's a win. If you can influence, I say this on social media, just one fucking person.
Except if you're a certain band that you mention all the time.
That fucking band. That's another episode. Roger, All Sinners. We got Perfect Strangers. We got fucking songs coming out. We got new albums coming out. Queensryche gonna open for Ace. It's coming out soon. This fucking guy. We got all positives for All Sinners. I'm hyped. Great things are going on. He's got All Sinners. He's got Drained. Go find All Sinners on all social media. Go to Purchase Street Records, the premier Northeast metal record store. What happened?
That's it.